brought to you by Olin Breweries and the Maritime Harness Racing Track Operators. And now, here's your host, Howie Trainer.
Hi, and welcome again to another edition of At the Track, and we have not one but two feature races for you on today's show, and not one but two upsets in those feature races. Our track tour will be at Truro Raceway, located in picturesque Truro, Nova Scotia. We'll also have a visit from Stan Bergstein, and the rest of our regular features all coming up in a moment's time.
Mondays.
Well, there's so many things you can say about Truro Raceway. First of all, it's the oldest raceway in Atlantic Canada. They've been racing there since way back in the 1880s. Secondly, it's one of the most picturesque racetracks in Atlantic Canada. And thirdly, the racing is extremely competitive over at one of the fastest half-mile strips. Truro Raceway, located in between Champlain Raceway and Sackville Downs, seems to benefit from having two big tracks on either side of it. That's what Colleen Jones found out. She toured Truro Raceway, and here's her story.
Truro Raceway. It's sandwiched between Champlain Raceway and Sackville Downs. It's in the hub of Nova Scotia. With two big tracks in such close proximity of Truro Raceway, it's hard to imagine how there's enough of a harness racing market to keep it in business. But people keep coming out. You see, racing here is a tradition, and the track itself has always been a friendly, fun place to be.
We have the luxury of being able to draw horses from Sackville Downs, Moncton, the Champlain Raceway, and also from Cape Breton. So we're very pleased with our location, and we have I think, a very interesting surroundings, a lot of history and so forth that comes with this raceway.
The Truro Raceway can brag about a couple of things. First of all, they're the oldest track in the Maritimes. The first recorded race happened back on October 6th, 1875, although some people say they were racing back in 1873. The other thing they can brag about is that they've got one of the fastest track surfaces in the Maritimes.
The credit for the fast track can go to Charlie Connors, who gives it lots of tender loving care. As a matter of fact, Charlie's been taking care of things in Truro since 1948.
I've been here about 35 years altogether. I work with the horses, and now I just look after the track.
Now, I hear you've got one of the fastest tracks in the Maritimes.
Well, it's pretty good, Colleen, but I know it's the fastest. They go pretty well over it anyway.
You're being modest. What does it take to make a fast track?
Well, you got to have a good cushion so the horses don't sting their feet, and then they go quicker. When they get hard, it hurts them, and then they don't, it hurts them. They don't go as good.
Charlie's fast track is a big reason the horsemen like to race in Truro. Or wait a minute, that's not a man wearing the green jacket and riding horse number 7. That's a woman. Claire McDonald loves racing in Truro because it's so close to her home in Antigonish, where racing is a family affair.
It's always been a family sport. I was brought up with it. My father raced, my brother raced. And I guess it's probably the closest to home, and we've always had pretty good luck here. The track was always in good condition.
There have been several changes at Truro Raceway over the last few years. 5 years ago, a fire destroyed the grandstand, so a new, modern facility was built. 2 years ago, businessman Peter Foyd and lawyer Victor Goldberg bought the raceway, and things have continued to improve. Last spring, they poured $250,000 into the grandstand, building a dining room, putting in a lounge and a canteen, all in the effort of making the Truro Raceway a nice place to go for a night's entertainment. They hired Joe Kelly as the track announcer, and he does an excellent job of calling the horses. They also bought a new tote board to keep everyone informed of each race. Thursdays and Sundays are race nights in Truro. They go from May to October. There isn't any winter racing. The big event they're gearing up for now is the Atlantic Grand Circuit Week, beginning July 30th.
The big event that we have is the Atlantic Grand Circuit Week, and that takes place in July, the end of July, and July 30th to August the 3rd, where we bring all our Atlantic standardbred sires programs to Truro Raceway. Plus, we also have our invitational pace, the Dairy Queen Invitational, which this year will go for $7,500. That goes on the Saturday night of Grand Circuit Week. We'll have a doubleheader on the Saturday, and of course, racing on Wednesday, Thursday, off Friday for a dance and gala events, and back with a doubleheader on Saturday and one on Sunday. The Johnny Conroy Memorial will be our will be our Sunday mainliner.
Betting. No track could survive without it. Truro Raceway is no exception.
Betting is one of the factors that keeps the purse money up. And of course, all racetracks in Canada are regulated by the Department of Agriculture, and they allow you to take out so much as your takeout, and we are all basically in the Atlantic provinces about the same. But the big thing is that you have to get your bet up to as high as you possibly can, and then you give a percentage of that to the horsemen. At this track here, we're giving 12.1% of the total bet, which I think is one of the largest given to the horsemen. But at the same time, with the smaller bets, you have to give an amount so the horsemen can make it interesting.
The nice modern grandstand, the history and atmosphere at Truro Raceway, that's why people keep coming out and they'll keep coming back. I'm Colleen Jones for At the Track.
Our resident historian, Stan Bergstein of Harness Tracks of America, back with us this afternoon. And last week we looked at the early days of sulkies and jog carts, and Stan's going to bring us right up to date with the modern day. But it's a unique look and something that many people have never seen. Stan will visit today one of the premier manufacturing companies in North America for jog carts and racing bikes. He'll tell you how they're made, and he'll also explain the difference between the two. Here's Stan, all about jog carts and racing sulkies.
There are two types of racing vehicles in harness racing. The racing bike, or sulky, which is used in races, and the jog cart, which is used for training. A lot of people see these vehicles, usually in the morning and before races and evening on the racetrack when the horse is pulling the jog cart, and in the races when he is pulling a sulky. But a lot of people do not see them where we are located right now. We are in the factory where the jog carts and sulkies are built. In this case, the factory of one of the world's largest manufacturers of these racing vehicles, the Nassau Sulky Company in Westbury, New York.
The manufacturing process starts with the sulky shafts. They once were made of hickory, they're now made of white ash, and they are sealed before the assembly process continues. After sealing, the shafts are drilled. Holes put in them to hold the seat support, the wheel forks, and the arch of the sulky. That tubular metal support system is welder's work. And once completed, the assembly process continues with the tubular framework fastened to the wooden sulky shafts. The completed sulky is spray painted, either in the custom colors of the racing stable that has ordered it, or if no particular stable has ordered this specific bike, in standard colors. Final touches are applied to another metal frame that holds the wheels and the seat. And a sewer finishes off fittings for the ends of the sulky shafts. Those fittings must be applied so they stay on. There is the seat of the racing bike and the new type wheel, and a larger, more comfortable seat of the jog cart with a conventional wire spoke wheel.
We have a lot of influence here. We can get you either one of these bikes, the sulky or the jog cart, as long as you have $1,020 for the sulky or $675 for the jog cart, in which case we will be happy to get it for you with your name on the shaft in either block or script letters.
Time now to take a look at racing action from all the tracks around the Maritimes from last week. We'll start at Sackville Downs. The Papermaker wins the $9,900 final of the Blue Nose Classic, 2 minutes and 3/5. He's now won 9 of 10 starts this season. At Champlain Raceway, 3-year-old fillies on the Atlantic Sire Stakes. Island Governess 2:02 and 2/5, and Siesta Night, a new personal record of 2:01 and 1/5. Over to Summerside Raceway, the midweek card was Volvic once again back on the winning track, this time in 2:02 206-1. At Charlottetown, Riverview Dandy 204-4, 3 lifetime starts and 3 lifetime victories for this colt. At Fredericton, the Atlantic Sire Stakes 2-year-old pacers, PH Jet 2-4-2, PH Bobby 204-1. Over at Tartan Downs in Sydney, it was Keystone Pompano 202 1/5, and a Truro Pro Jack once again a winner, again 202 1/5. That's it for Racing Recap. I'll be back in a moment's time. Well, for 1986, Exhibition Park Raceway in St. John came up with the lion's share of the Rothmans Sire Stakes events, and the first big bucks race was last Saturday. That was a $30,000 final in the 3-year-old Pacing Colts division. We mentioned at the outset of the show it was a weekend of upsets, and here's where one of the major upsets occurred. Bay River Chip went into this race 11 for 11, but it was not to be that he would end the victor, as Connell Smith tells us from EPR and the Rothmans Sire Stakes.
It's family days here at Exhibition Park Raceway, and while the kids do the moonwalk, everyone else here is talking about the 11th race, the Rothmans Sire Stakes, and one horse in particular, Bay River Chip, owned by Burton Cormier and Omer Cassie of Coquin, New Brunswick. This horse puts a perfect career record of 11 wins in 11 starts on the line here today. Dave Pinkney, the driver, there's no betting allowed on this horse. Other horses we'll watch closely here today: Kilcairn Direct, driven by Darrell McLean; Horton's Thunder, driven by Marcel Barrio; and All the Glory, driven by Michael McDonald. The track is good, and we're expecting a great race.
Kilcairn Derby with Wally Hennessy, Bayside Quinton with Earl Smith, Horton's Thunder with Marcel Barrio, Dockery Benghazi with Jody Hennessy, and here they come. They're off. Kilcairn Direct, wings 4, here's the lead on the outside. Bay River Chip racing a second. Horton's Thunder up wide, and in between them goes Dockery Benghazi. Kilcairn Direct grabs the lead, and the Bay River Chip racing a second as they leave the 8th. Dockery Benghazi drives up 3rd. FG Charles has 4th. Horton's Thunder racing a 5th. Then it's All the Glory, Bayside Quinton, Kilcairn Derby trails. On to the quarter, Kilcairn Direct has the lead. A lank Bay River Chip racing 2nd. Dockery Benghazi parked, hangs at 3rd. FG Charles racing 4th. They were by that opening quarter, 29 seconds, and Dockery Benghazi goes on. He drives on to 2nd. He's winging for the lead. Kilcairn Direct is the leader as they come by the 3/8 now. Dockery Benghazi is racing 2nd and through the stretch. They come racing to the half. It is Kilcairn Direct, and here comes Bay River Chip out from 3rd. Kilcairn Direct and Dockery Benghazi. Bay River Chip now gets to 2nd going on, and he grabs the lead as they race on by the half in a minute. Into the turn now, racing to the 5/8. It is Bay River Chip. Kilcairn Direct racing a 2nd. Horton's Thunder on the outside drives on 3rd. Dockery Benghazi. All the Glory, Bayside Quinton, FG Charles, and Kilcairn Derby on to the 3/4. The 2 leaders are neck and neck. Bay River Chip by a nose. Kilcairn Direct back on again on the inside, and he takes the lead. Kilcairn Direct the leader as they go by the 3/4. Bay River Chip hangs a 2nd. The 3/4, 1:30. It is Kilcairn Direct on the inside. Bay River Chip on the outside. Horton's Thunder racing 3rd, coming up on the inside. Kilcairn Derby. All the Glory, Bayside Quinton swinging home. Kilcairn Direct and Bay River Chip. Then Horton's Thunder. All the Glory, Kilcairn Derby coming to the line. Kilcairn Direct, here they are. Kilcairn Direct, Bay River Chip, Horton's Thunder, All the Glory, Kilcairn Derby, Bayside Quinton, FG Charles, and Dockery Benghazi. And the time for the mile, 2 minutes and 1/5.
What a finish for Kilcairn Direct, and some great driving by a very happy Darrell McLean.
Well, I just left the gate as fast as I could, I guess, and Bay River Chip, he left. I had to leave, I guess, to cut it out also, but I got around him, and I just cut it from then on, from wire to wire, and then Bay River Chip come, and I thought I let him go because he was the best, but then in the 5/8 he didn't show any real lick there, so I spoke to my fella and he came back on, and he just kept on going from there.
Kilcairn Direct, an unbelievable 3-year-old, and all the more unbelievable when you consider what owner Gordon McLean paid for him.
He went through the sale, and the fellow who bought him for $1,100 didn't know he wanted him or not, and I tried to buy him, and he says, "You give me an extra 100, you can have him." And I gave him the extra 100 and took him home.
So you're going to keep him for a while?
Oh, I imagine he'll die with us.
A happy owner, a big upset, an exciting race, a great day here at Exhibition Park Raceway. This is Connell Smith for At the Track.
Free-for-all action and stakes action are in the spotlight next week around the Maritime tracks. We first go to Exhibition Park Raceway in St. John. The eliminations for the 3-year-old pacing fillies scheduled for Saturday afternoon. Then down to Sackville Downs, a big weekend of harness racing shaping up. Atlantic Sire Stakes for 2-year-old pacing colts and fillies on Saturday's program. Then they come right back on Sunday, and the feature Sunday, the $25,000 BC Crookshank Memorial Pace. At Champlain Raceway, Atlantic Sire Stakes action. On Tuesday, it's the 3-year-old pacing colts. Over to Fredericton, Thursday, Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old trotters. At Charlottetown next Saturday, one of the top NHL players will be honored. Rick Vive Pace is the feature. Over to Tartan Downs, July the 10th, the Sydney Truro Challenge Series. And a reminder that on July 17th, the $5,000 Pepsi Cola Challenge will be the feature. At Truro on Sunday, third leg of the Tartan Downs Truro Challenge Series. And a reminder from the folks at Truro, July and August Sunday post times of 6:15. And of course, there's racing coming up at Summerside Raceway. Back again with our glossary and 3 terms that might cause a little bit of consternation. The first is boxing. It has nothing to do with putting on the gloves. It's when you bet 3 horses in a triactor in all possible combinations. If they finish in the first 3, you are a winner. It costs a little bit more, but it is extremely rewarding. Wheeling, that is when you couple a horse with every other entry in a quinella, exactor, or triactor feature. And our final in the glossary, shutout, that's when you arrive at the betting windows after wagering has closed. We'll be back in a moment's time.
Difficulties, the Robert Dewar Classic from Summerside is unavailable, but we do have the race results. The winner, Burner's Delight in 159 and 4. Second place went to Winner's Accolade, and third place to Guaranteed Chance. In place of the Robert Dewar Classic, Paul Meunier chats with Jack Ferguson, Secretary-Manager of the Atlantic Sire Stakes.
Let's go back to 1967 when it all began.
Well, prior to 1967, the late Glenn Kennedy, and mostly him, but with other people, worked to get a Sire Stakes program underway in the Maritimes. The first races were held in 1967, which means that, this year we will be nominating for the races of 1987, which will be our 20th anniversary of holding races.
Over the years, the program has expanded. There are now 6 divisions where there were 4, 2- and 3-year-old trotters, and now 2- and 3-year-old pacing colts and fillies. Most importantly, the purses have increased. In 1967, stakes participants were racing for about $1,000 a race. The provincial governments would increase their contribution from $2,000 to $6,000 each. And then in 1975, the provincial contributions jumped to $12,000 each. In 1982, funding would become based on 0.5% of the parimutuel handle. With increased funding from the tracks and horsemen, stakes entrants now go for a substantial sum. 1986 total package is $400,000. But the cry for further improvements continues.
I think the provincial governments have seen the benefit of the breeding industry to the Maritimes. For years, Maritimers tended to go to the States and buy cast-offs. And now, with the product that we're developing in this country, so the Americans are coming here to buy good racehorses after they have proven themselves in the Sire Stakes program. And the money hasn't improved or increased, perhaps to keep match with inflation. But certainly the quality of the product, it's unbelievable. The first year, I think 211, 212 was about the standard for a 2-year-old, and in those days, somebody that had a 2-year-old that could go that fast really had a wonder horse. 3-year-olds, 2.7, 2.8. I remember 2.6 was the 3-year-old pacing record for quite a few years. It is now to 2 minutes and a fifth in St. John last year, 2 minutes and 3/5 at Dieppe last year for the pacing colts, 2-1 apiece for the pacing fillies. 2, 3 and a piece for the trotting 3-year-olds. And those horses are good enough to race anywhere in North America.
Now, the 1986 program has been set. A lot of people are wondering about 1987 because they've heard that there are going to be some changes to the program, some interesting changes.
There will be less events, either 4 or 5 events in each age, sex, gate category sort of thing, and then a final. And, but with the consolidation of events, plus more money from the tracks, more money from the horsemen, they'll be going for a good deal more money. Our 3-year-old pacers will go now in the order of $8,000 per event. It would appear that they would go for something in the order of 12, 13,000, with a final going for something in the order of 20,000. So that will make a change, but I think perhaps a positive change. It's something that we'll try, and nothing is cast in stone forever and ever.
Do you foresee the day when maritime breeders will be producing wave wars and winners' accolades right here in the Maritimes?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, there's no question. It's just a matter of when. Will it be 2 or 3 years or 5 or 6 years? But there's nothing really to stop you. We used to think the climate would stop, but they're raising world champions in Ontario on the same climate as we are. Armstrong Brothers in Ontario can raise a colt as good as the Kentucky colts, as good as the Pennsylvania colts, and there's no reason why we can't do that in the Maritimes too. Well, that's it for another edition of At the Track, and once again, we'd like to remind you, take the family, drop in on one of the tracks in the Maritimes and pick up some of the excitement of harness racing. Champlain Raceway in Dieppe, a great place to be tonight, the $50,000 Monktonian Cup. And we'd ask you once again to drop your comments off to me, Howie Trainer, care of At the Track, P.O. Box 5004 in Moncton. Coming up at next week's show at the same time, by the way, of 4:30 will be the $50,000 Monktonian Cup from Champlain Raceway as the feature race. And we will learn all about the announcing aspect of harness racing. We'll talk with Norm Kazira, track announcer at Tartan Downs. We'll also visit with Dr. Ian Moore, equine vet from Winslow, Prince Edward Island. Until next week, I'm Howie Trainer at the Track.